Are you ready to learn? Because my super experienced guests are ready to share some really valuable information. Make sure and listen all the way to the end to get help and support. So let's start with the best audio experience.
Hello guys, welcome to our show. Today we discuss about LinkedIn outreach, how to do it right, how you can get great results, because we still get a lot of spam messages every single day. I don't know what is the main reason of sending these messages. Probably you can catch small fish, but you never can catch big fish. That's why it's important to personalize your outreach as maximum as possible. And I'm so excited to discuss this topic with Martinez. How are you?
Hello, Anatoly. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, big pleasure. Wanna learn more about that? Especially, I spent every single day like 5 minutes on email, a few minutes on LinkedIn, just to remove all these spam messages. On email, I can lead them to the best place ever for them, spam inbox. They can spend time together, because I don't need all these messages, but I get them plus 100 emails a day. They trying to sell me link building, many other services. They don't know me. Once I got the message, I know that you're great with fashion, so let me help you with that. Guys, my t-shirt costs like $3. I don't care about fashion a lot. I love reading books. So if you learn more about me, then you can understand what kind of value you can bring. Martin, before we start, just tell more about yourself, experience, background, and why you pay attention to LinkedIn, not Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Why LinkedIn?
Awesome. Well, look, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been involved in several different business ventures. I've been fortunate that in 2005, I launched a very successful poker business in Australia, which I was able to exit. I sold half the company in 2008, and I left the company in 2011. And since then, I've been venturing into different businesses and the typical entrepreneurial journey. But around 2014, or around that time, 2015 maybe, I started running a consulting company. And it was a virtual mastermind group program that I was running. And I had a lot of really prominent CEOs in Australia who were also advisors and mentors in the program. And in order for us to kind of get the word out, because it was a brand new company, we used all sorts of different marketing initiatives. We did PPC, we did Google, we did SEO, we even did print advertising, and nothing really worked. But a friend of mine was running a LinkedIn agency, and he told me, have you looked into or tried to use LinkedIn as a means to get business for yourself, consulting business? I said, look, I always thought of LinkedIn as just a job board or just a profile and nothing more. And so he started teaching me about the power of LinkedIn and what you could do. And he ran a campaign on my profile. So he optimized it. He did all these different things, created a special messaging, and then started targeting the type of people that we wanted to potentially work with in our masterminds. And it's the main thing that started working. For the first time that I was putting $1 in investment and I was getting a lot of dollars back. So that got the business going, but it wasn't really scalable. So we started hiring multiple virtual assistants who would run these campaigns. And it's the main thing that we kind of understood, that B2B business is really done in LinkedIn. And that's kind of how I fell into learning about it, falling in love with it, and really maximizing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice. Love your story. Great experience. And let me start from my first question: how to find the right direction? Because on LinkedIn we can use direct messages, organic reach by posting content, paid marketing. So where to start? For example, if someone starts from scratch, as you do, as I did, many years ago. So where to start? How to find the right way?
Look, before you even go there, I think it's very important that people realize and understand that there are three things that are fundamental that you have to get 100% right before you start doing the outreach. Number one is that you have to think of your personal LinkedIn profile as a landing page, and you have to create something that's appealing for your audience. The right photo, the right headline, the right about you story, and the right history, and so on and so forth. Because people do take the time when somebody's approaching each other, they do take the time to actually find out who you are and what you do. So if you are not really positioned yourself in a way that really solves a problem for the other person, or they're just not going to respond in the same way that they would if it's somebody that really has a really good profile. So step number one, make sure that you spend a little bit of time looking at other profiles that appeal to you, thinking of different ways that you can make yourself stand out and optimize your profile. The second thing that's fundamental, and I think a lot of people get wrong, is that their targeting is wrong. So you need to make sure that you do some basic searches on LinkedIn, the type of person that you're looking for, the job title, the type of company, and so on and so forth. You don't have to spend money on Sales Navigator yet. You can do it with basic search, but you should be able to find your target audience on LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is only good for B2B. So if you're in the B2C business, it's actually not going to work for you. But if you're in B2B, then it will. And I'll give you a perfect example. Maybe there are lots of doctors on LinkedIn or teachers on LinkedIn. But if you think about it, they are really not active on LinkedIn. So if you're searching for these people, they're just not going to be the type of people that are going to respond. However, if you're looking for company founders or marketing people or whatever, they're really active on LinkedIn. So targeting and testing that target and trying to find out if these people actually not only are on LinkedIn, but they seem to be active is the second most important thing you need to do. And third, not the least important, is that you need to come up with a messaging sequence that speaks to the other person, that it's in the right tone, in the right approach. And I'll give you a perfect example. So in America, in the USA, if you are very forward and you say, hey, I love to do business with you, would you like to connect? I have this wonderful product. 9 times out of 10, people will respond positively. But if you do the same thing in Asia, for example, in Singapore or in Australia, or even the UK, they're not going to accept it. They're just more passive. So you need to think about your target audience, how they like to be approached. Is it a forceful, upfront way, or is it more passive? So that's the kind of 3 keys: your profile, your targeting, and your messaging. And you need to potentially test that messaging quite a lot before you kind of crack the code for your particular audience. Once you have those 3 pieces in place, the main thing that you need to do is really start looking at where are the people that I'm targeting. Now, the best tool to do that is really Sales Navigator. It is expensive, but it's worth every penny if you're actually doing the right amount of targeting and searching. So that's kind of the big kind of platform within LinkedIn that you should be using on a regular basis. The second thing that you should be looking at, and I think it's actually becoming more and more important, it's actually LinkedIn groups or even posts from different people where you're getting a lot of responses and people are actually replying to posts and stuff like that. So there are lots of different ways that you can actually find the right people. But if you don't have the foundation right, it's just not going to work. And once you start finding the right people, it's just a matter of continuously testing to see, okay, are they on LinkedIn groups? Are they posting regularly? Are they doing LinkedIn events, or are they just on a search that you can find them easily? That's kind of the foundation for it all.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's talk about creating the right profile. I see a lot of profiles are selfish. When people can claim they're experts, guru in some topics. We are great. Please cooperate with me because I'm so great. But, I read a few books about marketing and that share you need to create the feeling when your customers are great, how you can help them, how you can support them to become great. And don't tell that you are great. So make your customer great. Can you tell how to create the right profile? You mentioned about profile, it's important, but tell how to highlight on your profile that you can help and support others.
Absolutely. So look, obviously the look and the feel and the text that you put in a profile is important. And I do agree with you that a lot of people are pitching themselves as these great, experts. And when you look at their job history, they've been in that job for 3 months. So there's not much expertise you can have if you've only been doing whatever you're doing for the last 3 months. However, that's kind of the first stage of that you have to call. You see the person claiming that they're an expert, look at their history and see if the actual history justifies, the job experience justifies their claim. The second thing that I would say is that the true experts don't call themselves experts. They don't go and tell everybody, I'm wonderful. What they do is they really share their knowledge, and they share their knowledge without anything in return. They share expertise, they share opinions, they share content from other places and make comments on that. And that's when you really know that you are listening or seeing an expert, because they have deep knowledge about something and they're willing to share it because they know that the knowledge itself is not enough. You have to execute on that knowledge. So if you're trying to build yourself as this expert in something, it's very hard to fake it. You have to be the expert because people can see it transparently quite quickly. So what I normally recommend is that instead of making these huge claims, which you can do in your profile, always share content, always share knowledge, always share your opinion. And you can do that with posts, you can do it in video, you can do it in all sorts of different ways. But you're giving the viewer a taste of who you are, what you do, how are you an expert, is your opinion valuable, does it make sense? And that is something that most people are not willing to do. That work of becoming or showing your expertise, sometimes people think they're scared of sharing the knowledge. And on the other time, it's just they don't want to put in the time. However, most people, what they look at LinkedIn is as an outreach and an outbound strategy. Is like, let me find people and then let me just blast them. And actually, I think it's the opposite. It should be an inbound approach, where if you connect with enough people, if you share enough knowledge, people are going to come to you when they're ready, when they have questions. And that's when actually the business is already sold, because they already know you, they already have a trust with you, and they're just ready to do business with you rather than you pitching. And that's kind of how I use LinkedIn and how I recommend a lot of people do that. But it's a lot more time consuming. You need to invest a little bit more.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I check out many profiles, great marketers, business owners, and it's really impossible to find someone who can tell they are experts, because they are students. They are students on this life. Even Neil Patel shared on his website that others can tell him an expert, but he prefers to learn a lot more. So let's talk about posting content on the LinkedIn. You mentioned about that. It's important to share knowledge as much as possible. And I found the difference. For example, for SEO, for Google, we need to create super high quality content. It takes time to write an article, to edit, to provide something new, to create design, to submit, web development. Usually, my team, for example, spends like a few days to create one piece of content, and 7 people can do it: content managers, designers, editors, writers, SEO specialists, web developers. But on LinkedIn, I found you don't need to have this team, and it's not about quality, because quality is subjective. It's more about sharing something new. And I found some influencers can win on LinkedIn by writing simple text, like a few sentences. Some can write long text, someone can film great videos, but it's not like for YouTube or Google. Can you tell how to find what quality means on LinkedIn?
Well, to be honest, I think that, what you've said of investing in writing content, putting it on your website. You have marketers, you have writers, you have copywriters, you have editors, you have designers, you have all these teams
Yeah.
to write one piece of content. And as you know, when you publish that content, it might not actually get much traffic, but it's something that you invest in for SEO for long term. I think that LinkedIn as a platform is about conversation. Okay. And what I mean by that is that you've identified that some influencers, they just write a couple of lines and all of a sudden they have this engagement. So the way I look at LinkedIn from a content perspective, it's not the same way as I do with SEO or blogs or anything like that. I look at it as, can I create conversation? Can I post something? Could be a question, could be an opinion, could be something controversial, could be anything. But the idea is to make sure that the people in your audience engage with it, that they banter with you, that they have their own opinions and their own questions and their own advice. And that is what happens. That's when you see the most successful, most viral content on LinkedIn. It's not this massive long posts. It's really someone who is potentially influential or not, but has asked the right question or has made the right statement or the right content. And it could be just a simple message and trying to get others' opinions on it, and it creates that virality on it. So to me, for me, just think of LinkedIn posts and LinkedIn content more as a conversation starter. Can you get other people with your views or whatever, get them to respond so you can start interacting, and that kind of brings more and more eyeballs to the post.
Mhm. I'm interested about how often to post content. I know it's a broad question. It depends, but I see two approaches. For example, Gary Vee, he can share that you need to post as much as possible. If he has time, he will post 24 times a day. The second approach from it's more popular. Then you need to post quality content a few times a week, because I read a few best practices and I got it. Most people prefer to post a few times a week. Someone can tell you need to post 24 times a day. How to find the balance between this consistency of posting content?
Of course. Look, there is no perfect formula. I'll be totally honest with you. And people can claim whatever they say. Oh, yeah, this is the best time of the day and the best days of the week and whatever. But the reality is that you need to slowly but surely build an audience the same way. I mean, Gary Vee has got, he's built this profile for many, many decades. It's not even years. He's been at this for a long time. So whenever he posts, he instantly has an audience that will listen, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's Snapchat or LinkedIn or whatever. So consistency is what's more important than the frequency. So whatever you decide to do, whether it's to post 24 days, four times a day or 3 times a week, as long as you do it consistently for a prolonged period of time, is when you're going to start seeing results. So if you post now and then you change your mind and then you change again and whatever, your audience is unsure on when to hear from you. But if you are developing a level of consistency in your posting, whether it's long form or short or whatever it is, as long as it's consistent and you keep it up for a prolonged period of time, then the audience will become familiar with your voice and the timing, and then they will be more receptive. And it's nothing to do with the time of day or the day of the week or whatever. And because your audience could be anywhere in the world, so it doesn't really make a difference. I mean, I could be in Australia, and it's the middle of the night right now, and I'm right now in Dubai and it's 8 p.m. When am I going to post? I mean, you don't really know when the audience is going to be awake and whether they're going to use it. But the consistency is what's important. And once you've built some kind of sequence or framework for your post, that's when your audience will become familiar with it and resonate with it more often.
Yeah, love it, valuable. And you mentioned many times about audience. I even lost track how many times you said this word. And let's talk how to learn audience, because I see when some influencers, they usually post about themselves, so they have intuition, experience. I can't tell they learn a lot audience, but according to their experience, they can share some valuable insights, like intuition, not logic. And it's important to learn audience, but if you feel it, understand, probably you don't need to learn, because you know what kind of audience you created before. So can you tell how to learn audience if you started from scratch?
Look, I think that you need to separate the people you're targeting in two different buckets. One is an influencer, and an influencer is someone that has a voice that people listen to or respect, but it's not necessarily an expert. And then you have the experts, right? And I think it's very important that you define what you are or you want to become, whether you want to become an influencer or you want to become an expert. Because experts can talk about what they know 24/7. Whereas
Mhm.
influencers, they go with what's trendy. So for example, right
Yeah.
now it's all about chat GPT. Tomorrow is going to be about VR, who knows, and the next one. And they go and what's trendy, because to build influence, you have to be current. You have to be on the latest thing, right? Whereas an expert, that's what they do. Maybe they I don't know, they make nails, right? And they're experts at
Mhm.
nails. And there's not much
Yeah.
excitement and changes and stuff like that. But if you want to know about nails, this guy is the guy. So again, for me, a lot of people that want to build influence, they do so by being on trend, whereas an expert has to focus on the area of knowledge, and they continuously and regularly share that knowledge. So again, there's no magic bullet, but I think identifying which one you want to become is important as the foundation for the type and regularity of content you want to publish.
Yeah. And let's talk about other aspects, because you mentioned about value. Yeah, it's important to share value, but I found some accounts, influencers, they inspire people to do something, and it's like inspiration. And according to one famous study, that inspirational content gets 3 times more engagement on Pinterest. I think it's the same with LinkedIn, probably everywhere, because people need to get this inspiration. And I found when some influencers create simple posts but inspirational, you can just do it, just get out of your comfort zone, you will get results, something like that. Can you tell how to inspire a specific audience? If you have your audience, how do I know the way to learn them and inspire to get actions?
Look, to be honest, the best way I think to inspire others is by showing how you helped one customer, one person.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the posts that are so-called influential or they're inspirational, to be honest, they don't have any depth. They don't have any knowledge. They don't have anything except a few words and maybe an image to kind of make people excited. So I'll give you a perfect example. A few years ago, maybe 2020, before COVID, I was posting on my LinkedIn profile images, inspirational images. And it was an image with a particular one word sentence. And I did that daily, 7 days a week. Okay. And the sole purpose of that was not really to get people off their butt and to do something, but to show positivity, to make sure that people not necessarily be inspired to do something special, but to give them reminders of positive things that are happening in life. Because even in a social network that's business related, people have bad days at work
Yeah.
and in business. So to have a positive light that you see on a little post, brings positivity for them for the day. However, to go from there being, positive about something, to getting inspired to do something, it takes a lot more than just a little post. I think it takes something like a testimonial or something to do with a customer that you've helped achieve a certain level of success, and then you can share it with your audience. But just little posts and little images, I knew when I was doing it that I wasn't going to make anybody get up off their chair and take over the world, but it was more about instilling a positive message every day. And on the flip side, to try to get somebody really inspired, it's more about show what can be done and show how it was done. And I think that's kind of saying, the reason why I would say do that is because you are trying to say it is possible. It is not just a word that somebody posted over there and I have to do all the work. It's more about, oh, okay, this guy did it. This is how they did it. So it is possible. Now it's my turn. That's how I would approach it.
Yeah, love it, love it. Let's talk about creating non-boring content. Once I spoke with Jim Edwards. He worked in Business Insider for 10 years. He started on this company from scratch. Then company was sold for $500 million. Great success. And he explained this success that Business Insider creates non-boring content. So business niche is boring, B2B is boring, but this company found the way how to create non-boring content. Can you tell how to do it? Okay, I can share value, I can help, but most content bounce fast. People don't care about value if you can't catch their attention, hook them. So any insights about creating non-boring content?
Look, to be honest, it comes about the person's charisma and personality. It's very hard to fake that, to be honest. If you are outgoing, if you have an open personality, if you're an extrovert, it's, people gravitate to those things and they are attracted to those things. However, I have been playing around with ChatGPT and there is lots and lots of ideas that you can get out of it. You can just put your content in there and say, can you turn this into a funny piece of content or a inspirational piece of content or whatever? And ChatGPT does a great job in actually giving you ideas and inspiration on how to write content that could be a lot more catchy. That's one way to do it. Another way is to be controversial. Now, it's not something that everybody's comfortable doing, but taking a side and being strong on the way you speak about that side creates a lot of positive and negative feedback, right? And that's another way that you can get engagement. So there are different possible ways that you can go about, but it really comes down to, if the person is boring, they're going to write boring content. And if the industry that they're in is even more boring, sometimes you just can't make it work. But again, you can be creative. And again, I think using tools like ChatGPT will give you inspiration on how to change your tone or change your style so it can become a little bit more appealing or attractive for the reader.
Yeah, you remind me a book about a girl that was interesting, that she was an introvert. So introvert. She didn't have any friends, but once she decided to post content on Tumblr many years ago about herself, and million people started to follow her. Million people are the same. So if you are not funny, if you have if you can't create engagement content, be yourself. So if you play yourself, then many people like you. So you can find them, surround with people like you. Yeah, love it. Okay, Martin, let's talk about common mistakes. Can you list mistakes that companies still do on LinkedIn, and your tips how to find a much better way?
Look, I think LinkedIn needs to be treated like any other social network, right? There needs to be a level of investment in time, effort, and consideration. A lot of people, they just think, oh, I'm going to post something, and then they quickly give up because they're not getting results. And again, what I was mentioning to you before, it's all about building consistency. Whether it's through your company profile page or your personal profile feed or whatever, you just need to be consistent. And the biggest mistake that most people do is that they get started, they get engaged, they get, and they just don't see the results straight away. So then they give up very, very quickly. In reality, if you're starting from very little or nothing when it comes to an audience size, it can take up to a year in order to actually get any kind of engagement, meaningful engagement. But it's not just about meaningful engagement, it's about quality of the people that are viewing it. So that's why I always recommend to make sure that in your targeting, you're really, really smart about who your audience becomes, because every time you post something, your audience is going to actually automatically see it. And as that audience grows, so will your engagement. But again, the biggest mistake that people make is that they want a quick result. And sometimes it works. Sometimes you have this person that did something crazy or unusual or different and they blew up. That's 0.00001% of the people that actually post content on any platform, let alone LinkedIn. And to me, I think that what's important, and again, going back to that inspirational side, is you got to show results, but they have to be somebody else's results, not just yours. This about saying, I sold 1 million units of this, or I did this special marketing campaign. It works. People catch it, right? But there is no depth in that content. There is no meaning in there, and people can smell a rat very quickly and then disengage. So although you might get clicks and views and engagement, it's not lasting engagement. So as a person, for example, talking about introverts, I'm an introvert myself. I very rarely post. I'm a very private person. Not a lot of people know much about me. And that's by design. I don't talk much about me. Whereas others, I've got friends who are always posting and talking about their success and stuff like that. And yes, they get engagement, but they're getting the wrong kind of people engaging. So you got to consider quality over quantity as well. So I don't think I have the right answer for you for that question, but I just think that people need to be very mindful of how they approach it and be very thoughtful and make sure that they're committed. It takes a long time. And sometimes you might get lucky and one of your posts goes viral or whatever, but there is no perfect strategy and it does take time. And if you're not willing to put in the time, then, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, I think it's the right answer, because patience is the most important element for any campaign, marketing campaign, business campaign, because I don't know how to get fast results in SEO. I don't know how to get fast results on YouTube. Even when people get these results, I check out a few case studies when people got them, but they had experience before. So someone acquired experience, failing with other stuff, then learn new, and they can get great results. But it's more about experience, and it's the same with any niche. Weight loss, learning foreign language, I don't know. You need to spend time. It's not a few weeks, months, years. You need to spend years, to get results. Yeah, love it. Awesome. Okay, Martin, I have the question about your experience. I have some students in my network who are looking for ways how to learn from scratch. And I found, for example, I usually get great results with companies that know SEO. So if they don't know SEO, I tell them it's better to take my course. It costs like $10-20, but you can learn the basic. Then we can cooperate together. If you don't know, it's hard to find specialists who will provide something unique. I mean, like we have no secrets. We need to cooperate like a cohesive team. So if you started today from scratch without any experience, knowledge, skills, what will you do today to learn more about LinkedIn?
Well, we need another podcast for this. The reality is that, as I said, people need to make that investment at the beginning of ensuring that their profile is optimized, ensuring that their targeting is right, and also that these people are active. And I'll give you one little hint of how you can find out if people in your target audience are active on LinkedIn. So let's say you do a search. Let's say you're looking for whatever marketing specialists in Belgium. One thing, when you see all the results, you will see a golden LinkedIn icon. Now, if they have a golden LinkedIn icon, it's because they pay for LinkedIn. That means that they have a premium account, whether it's premium or sales navigator or something else. And that instantly tells you that your audience is regularly active on LinkedIn. Aside from that, it's really trial and error. There is no magic bullet, unfortunately. And there is a lot of people that would tell you do this and do that. And again, it might work, but it might not work for your audience. And that's why it's important to test and to give it some time to see the results, and then test again and try something different and see if you're getting better results, and so on and so forth. So there is no exact science. LinkedIn's, is one of these platforms that is specifically built for B2B. And one thing that most people forget, and this is something that people don't realize, or they just dismiss. I am busy. You are busy. I'm not on LinkedIn all the time.
Yeah.
Just because you send me a text or a message or an email or whatever does not mean that I'm going to respond as often as I would respond to an email. And that's why email marketing is still so, today in 2023 and for the foreseeable future, still going to be very powerful, because people are more responsive on an email than it is on a LinkedIn platform. So to me, it's all about trial and error to make sure that whatever you do works for your particular audience. Because if you're looking for one particular audience and they're not active on LinkedIn, all your efforts go to waste. But if your audience is really active on LinkedIn, very little effort is going to be rewarded. So there is no perfect formula, unfortunately.
Yeah. Agree. I think all people, I don't know anyone who don't use email every single day. But LinkedIn, it depends. If you build your audience, yeah, you can spend time. But if you use it like tool for selling, yeah, probably you can check out a few times a week. It depends. But email, yeah, is the first place. Martin, I have the question about the future. It's my final question. I'm interested what kind of future will be, because LinkedIn, Microsoft owns LinkedIn. Microsoft today owns OpenAI. Probably we don't know who owns or not, but made this investment $10 billion. Probably, yeah, the owner. So can you tell what kind of future will be? Because today, like Bill Gates said, the era of AI has begun. So what do you think? What kind of future will be on LinkedIn according to these technologies, AI that are growing fast?
My opinion, and this is something that, I don't necessarily preach, this is just my personal opinion, is that we are a long way away from people trusting AI.
Mm-hmm.
We're not 3 months away. We're not 6 months away. I would say we're a decade away before people can trust any kind of AI. And the reason why is because the use cases that have been used to date is to do fake news, or to do fake people's videos that sound like the president of the United States. Or, I recently heard a song that Jay-Z, sang half the song, but it was actually an AI that sounded exactly like Jay-Z. So I believe that the reality of the world is that people will trust real people, and they want to engage with real people, and they will use platforms like LinkedIn to find those real people. And is there a place for AI? I think there is. Where it actually is useful for business engagement, I don't know. But because the use cases of AI have been so, in my opinion, negative, they don't add value. They're just showing you how the Pope now has got this puffy jacket, or the use cases have been terrible. So the foundation in which AI is being promoted is negative for business, because people only do business with others that they trust and believe and can shake their hand, in the real world. And if you don't really know what's happening at the other end, you're going to distrust it. And that could actually hurt LinkedIn if they implement a lot of this AI because people are just not going to know, who am I talking to? Am I talking to a robot? Am I talking to a real person? Is that person really responding to me, or is it a bot responding to me? So I think the world of AI beyond LinkedIn, just in general, it's in infancy. It's a decade before there's any real use cases that people would actually use in real life that are not threatening trust. And that's kind of the important piece in business, that you need trust. You need to know who you're doing business with. You need to trust them, and you need to make sure that you can do a real virtual handshake and not know that it's some bot or some AI at the other end. And again, I'm not sure if my opinion is popular, but I think that's a practical way to look at things, and it's a more realistic way to look at things for where they stand today.
Yeah, interesting. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
Nobody knows.
I failed many times to predict the price of Bitcoin, the price of many stocks. So yeah, I prefer to adapt to new challenges that we have to go ahead. But we'll see. So if you consider technologies, AI is not golden button. Even on my website, it's called golden button. Guys, it's not. It's just help. Now you can get much faster results by using this technology, but you can create the final content by using AI. If you create,
I believe that it's perfectly
yeah.
useful for inspiration, right? If I'm not a very good writer, so if I use tools like AI, ChatGPT, we actually have used Jasper as an example. For me, it's useful because it gets the juices flowing, which if you started with a blank page, it's very hard to get started. So it's almost like this Kickstarter that is very helpful. But again, when it comes to LinkedIn, I just think that it's going to be a very long time before they implement any of that kind of co-pilot stuff that they're doing with Outlook or whatever. I could be wrong, but again, I just feel like anything that goes in that direction is going to diminish the level of trust that they're trying to build on the platform, and I think that's a detriment to the platform if they do.
Yeah, nice. Martin, it's a big pleasure to get my show, to learn from you. Tell our audience the best way how to keep learning from you, how to reach out to you, how to follow you.
Sure. Well, look, I don't know if you've mentioned it, but I am the founder of meetalfred.com, which is a LinkedIn and sales automation platform, which it is a bot in itself. It automates a lot of your outreach. It saves you the time of just doing it manually. It doesn't replace, you coming up with a target audience, you improving your profile, and you sending a coherent sequence of messages. It just automates what you would normally do manually. So you can reach out to me there through the website. My email is martin@meetalfred.com. I'm now based in Dubai, so I'm a little bit easier on the time zones, because when I lived in Australia, it was a lot harder to connect with me, but always available on email. You can find me on LinkedIn as well, and happy to help anybody that wants to reach out.
Nice. Guys, you can find the links to the website in the description below, to Martin LinkedIn profile in the description. Listen us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Thanks again for your time. A big pleasure. Love all your valuable insights. So valuable, fun. Guys, you need to reach out, Martin, because you can see a lot of value, and it's important to personalize your outreach as much as possible, because I failed many times with templates. I tested them, but I got it only one way you can catch big fish. Just personalize and learn your recipients before sending any message. Okay, guys, love you. See you.